So 2024 was a long series of ups and downs for me, but throughout all that time, I experienced a ton of media that I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't, from video games, albums, movies, etc. And I figured rather than do a top 10 of each one of those and waste a bunch of time, we're just going to knock the whole shebang out. So this is peak 2024. So starting off, this was unexpected. I randomly bought Case of the Golden Idol on a whim just to try it out. It looked neat, but I'm not really into point and click puzzle games. I didn't think I was, I was like, it'll probably, I won't be into it. I'll probably refund it. It had good reviews. I like the art style. I was interested enough, and I know life this game. I just had an unhealthy, I got on, I was like, babe, 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 like solving all the puzzles, all the pieces coming together. I gelled with this game so much. I didn't think I'd love it, but I still gave it a chance. The way the story is laid out, it builds upon its own conspiracy and this like thrilling experience you see fold out in front of you with all these weird, interesting characters all just intertwining with each other. The way the puzzles just like come together, this mirage of calamity frozen in time, and it gives you everything you need to know. The game knows you're smart enough to figure it all out. Doesn't question your intelligence. It really trusts you to put the whole thing together, and when you do solve some of these puzzles, you feel like a genius. Like, I didn't think I could do some of these, but if you just sit there, you look at the tiny details, it all comes together perfectly. You end up solving these puzzles in like this Mad Lib style format where you're dragging names, locations, items all to this chart. And the way you slowly understand, you carry over characters' names from one story to another. You start piecing together details. You start going back and you're being like, oh, that's why this happened because of this. If you love puzzle games, please check this out. It is a treasure that should not be missed, and you're going to want to figure out the Case of the Golden Idol because it is genuinely insane. I don't think I've really kept this a secret. Maybe I haven't mentioned it on the channel, but I love Yakuza / Like a Dragon. It's my favorite video game franchise of all time. Ask anyone I know, adore it, love it to death. I wanted to play it on stream for a long time. I haven't, but that's besides the point. Anyway, either my favorite or second favorite game this year was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I was looking forward to this game so much since it got announced. And for like January into February, I did nothing but wait to play this game. It's all I wanted to do. I was looking forward to it so much. And you know what? The payoff was worth it. Despite all the DLC stuff, which we don't need to go into. If you know about it, you know. If you don't, plenty of other people have talked about it. It's in the past at this point. But my hype was through the roof, and the payoff was excellent. This game is hilarious. We need more funny games. This is a really funny game. Hawaii as a new map, awesome. Loved exploring it. Getting to meet the new characters, new areas, mini games, stuff like that. The quality of life updates are insane. Combat is so much better than it was in Yakuza Like a Dragon. Despite the controversies and all that, I love this game. The story is not great, but Yakuza to me is never really known for the story, but everything surrounding that. Some of the story elements are really fantastic, don't get me wrong. But, Infinite Wealth has its ups and downs. Like, we could talk about how Ichiban kind of feels like a side character in his own game. Kiryu coming back as a protagonist, blah, 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 whatever. But I love this. I really, really love this. If you have the time, please check it out. It's probably one of my must-play RPGs if I had to name one. And, man, I cannot wait for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. As dumb as the name is, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And just whatever they come up with in the future, I know it's going to bang. I know. Technically cheating. But the Steam World series is all going in here. I binged all the way up to SteamWorld Quest, which I haven't gotten to yet. I've played a bit of it, but I haven't finished it. And I can't remember falling in love with a series like this in a while. I was always skeptical of the games. I didn't really know if I would like them. I played a little of Dig, the first one, when it released on PS4, but I didn't even play that much of it. But now that I'm like going through this, I love the SteamWorld series. I love how every game is different. They all go for different genres, ideas. They're so experimental, but they're always so successful. Even in some of like the lower cases, but like it all works so well. It's really kind of feels like, Oddworld, like back in the day. But now we have like this new age of Oddworld, and they're taking that idea and just completely transforming it into their own thing. My favorite game that I've played up until this point is probably SteamWorld Dig 2. I love Dig 2. However, behind that is probably SteamWorld Heist. And I haven't gotten the Heist 2 yet, but I'm really looking forward to it because Heist 2 looks insanely amazing, and I cannot wait to see what they cook with that. From tactics and strategy, from like SteamWorld Build and SteamWorld Heist, all the way to like platforming of Dig. Each game, like I said, does its thing really, really well. And the more I delve in, the more I see just how experimental, unique the studio is. And they're not afraid to take risks. Like, we'll go from doing a tactical side-scrolling RPG to a deck-building adventure fantasy game. It's crazy to see what they come up with, and I really cannot wait to see where the SteamWorld series goes after Heist 2, and hopefully see them explore new lanes. I'm really hoping for a SteamWorld like third-person action game or a first-person shooter. That's my dream. We'll see if it comes to life, but if you haven't played the SteamWorld games, at least check one of them out. They're really cool. You'll probably find something you like in there because there's something for everyone in that franchise. But huge shout out to SteamWorld. Excited to continue playing that into 2025. So last year, I decided I was going to get into the Dragon Age series, which is what turned out to be for better and worse. I love BioWare, right? I've played through all the Mass Effect games, well, at least the main trilogy, 1 through 3, and I love those games. Those are some of my favorite RPGs I've played, and I feel like anytime I get into a BioWare game, it is an absolute treasure. And I was floored by Dragon Age Origins. I had no idea that this RPG is what inspired some of the greats, like Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that, or maybe even like Divinity, which I know same studio, but whatever, or Pillars of Eternity. All of these games were inspired by this one RPG, and it is amazing. It's easily the best of the 3 Dragon Age games I have played. It's my favorite. Everything from the hallmark design to the writing to the grim dark world, and this is a dark world. Like, I played originally long ago, Inquisition was my first Dragon Age, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like every other fantasy world. Origins completely changed my opinion on that. No, man, we are in the pits. I don't know what's going on, but it is dark and it is scary. What I love is your character truly has an impact on this world. You are doing things that forever change like the entire landscape, and you see those changes made in real time. It is insane to watch. Just from like one decision you make, how characters can leave your party completely. There might characters you might not even see. It is insane how it all works out. And I wish I could go on to say I love the later entries as much as this one, but I don't. However, it's no wonder why Dragon Age Origins has been such an inspiration to other RPGs down the line. And if you're going to check out one Dragon Age game, let it be Origins. 2 is fun, but it's underbaked, and I hated Inquisition to talk about the other 2. But God, what a masterpiece. And I feel like a lot of people talk about like games as art, and even though games are already art, that's a whole other video. This is a perfect example of that. This is a perfect example of writing, world building, gameplay. This is like a must play game in my opinion. If you ever find the time, please try Dragon Age Origins. You will not regret it. I promise you. So yeah, this is it. The days of the chat room are long over, but a game about fishing and an Animal Crossing style has brought it back. I'm talking about web fishing. I ate this game up. I binged it for days on end. I played it with friends, by myself, constantly farming, catching all the fish, baits, titles, clothing, everything. It's so simple but addicting. And I love like the music, the Animal Crossing style. It was like, I love a chill game and I love a fishing game. This was my favorite fishing chill game. Play it with friends all the time, go into random servers and talk with people. This was just super pleasant and something I didn't know I needed. And I haven't checked it out since I 100% it, but man, I will forever cherish my time with that game. And if I ever find a reason to go back, I will, because web fishing is truly a treat in my mind. And if you love just talking with random people, just banter, or just, fishing even. I turned on the auto clicker because I didn't want to get carpal tunnel playing this game. Or just chilling out. It's like the perfect chilling out game with your homies, just fishing. It's such a fantastic time. And if you're into chill games, if you're into talking with people, if you're just, into fishing, try out web fishing. I guarantee you probably might love it. I don't know, but I hope you do. Because it was probably my game of the year, which I didn't expect, because originally it was probably going to be Dragon Age Origins or Like a Dragon. But this really, I think, took the #1 spot with those two games behind it. Because, man, this was just so fun to play. And it's one of those games where I'm probably going to, want to experience it for the first time again in the future. So, yeah, thank you, developers of web fishing, because you made an absolute treasure of a game, and you brought back a mostly dead genre that I haven't experienced since PictoChat on my Nintendo DS in middle school. Thank you. So while everyone was having a brat summer, I was doing something a little different. I actually had a King Gizzard summer. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that Charlie XCX album. It was fantastic. But the album of the summer that really caught my eye was Flight B741 by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This is a band I love. I don't know if I've talked about it on the channel before, but they released this Southern rock album during the summer, and they went on tour. Sadly, I didn't get to see them live. I so desperately wish I did. They didn't come to Pittsburgh, though, so rip. So instead, I just bumped this at every party I went to during the summer, from bonfires to just hangouts, playing songs like, Le Risque, Field of Vision. It was all great. This was such a chill, not chill, but just such a good rock album. I always love how King Gizzard is doing something different, and they always put their own twist on it, right? And even with this, they put their own twist on the music, and it's just fantastic. I don't know if you're really into Southern rock, stuff like Leonard Skinner or Sweet Home Alabama, any of that, but they do a fantastic job with this album. And if you have time and you never checked it out, I highly recommend. And honestly, the biggest crime of this album is that I never got to see it live, and who knows if they're going to play any more songs from it at their next concert. I don't know. We'll see. I can only hope, I guess. So late into 2023, I got into listening to I Don't Know How, But They Found Me. They're what I would call an experimental pop band. Make a lot of really good music, and in 2024 they released Gloom Division. It was their latest album, had a lot of good songs I enjoyed, like Downside, Gloomtown Brats, What Love, 6 Feet. a lot of just generally good experimental pop music that I had on my rotation throughout most of the year. This album was really catchy, had, like all those songs I named on it, really good. Those are the main ones I rotated through, but they're really good at just making this pop music that really stands out in my mind. Through their production quality and different reasons and different ideas they take from other songs as well. I just think it's a really creative and cool album and stuff they're doing over there. And if you haven't listened to them before, highly recommend it. But Gloom Division was just a good album I generally listened to a lot this year. And if you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend it. So, over the past year, I've been going to the gym. Like all 2024, I've just been hitting the gym up as much as I can. And an artist that I've been listening to a lot is Apache. If you don't know who they are, they're an EDM artist who samples a lot of classical music, and they kind of put like an EDM sort of club music twist on it. It's really good. Everything from like these loud, bombastic bass drops to like operatic chorus. It is like hits when I'm working out. The best way I can describe how it makes me feel is John Wick going through a nightclub. I actually discovered Apache through JVB, Joey Valence and Bray, who are also on this list. But man, if you're into like EDM club music, maybe even classical music, check out Apache. I think they've worked with like The Weeknd, just a ton of like popular artists as well. Primo electronic music, and I highly encourage you to check them out if you get a chance. So I've listened to this artist before, but I didn't even realize it. The game Max Payne 3 has a soundtrack created by the industrial rock band Health, who are really good, right? I've played Max Payne 3. I love that game. Love it. I could probably do a whole video on it, but it's one of my favorite third-person shooters, and they did the soundtrack for it. But I recently, over 2024, started listening to a bunch of their other music, and I love it. I haven't listened to a lot of industrial music at all outside of like Nine Inch Nails. So this is like a new genre for me. But Health does a lot of amazing work, and they've collabed with like a bunch of people. They did like an Ultra Kill song. They did Cyberpunk 2077. They are like everywhere. And I've been listening to their stuff, like Rat Wars was amazing. And just that artist in general has like opened up a whole new genre of music for me to really get into. And now I've become like really into industrial music because of them. And man, I'm just so appreciative of it because I love exploring new genres, and Health has like opened up the doors. And they're also experimental, have done other stuff as well, which is pretty cool. I always like to see artists, jumping around trying new stuff. But Health, I would love to see them live if I ever get a chance. I know it's like their most streamed song ever, but if you haven't heard The Drain, go listen to it. Fantastic. And yeah, 2025 will probably be the year of industrial music for me. So thank you for that, Health. So this album was made by a rap duo who is actually kind of local to my area, and they did the whole thing with no hands. Yeah, I'm talking about Joey Valence and Bray. They're a rap duo outside of Pennsylvania, actually kind of hometown-ish, not really, but they debuted with Punk Tactics. They went viral on TikTok, and now they're releasing this album that they did in 2024, and they have this like EDM rap twist on their music that I think really works well. The best way I can describe it is imagine like Beastie Boys, but like with bass drops in it, right? And that's what you get. So I've been listening to them since Double Jump, which was like way back in 2021. However, No Hands is probably the best thing I've heard from them. We got songs like The Baddest, shout out the remix, Aisha Erotica. That was fantastic. Songs like Okay were great. A bunch of other amazing ones. In fact, the whole album is probably zero skips for me. I loved it. I was constantly on replay. One of my top artists on Spotify at the end of the year. The best thing I can say about them is they're constantly releasing good shit. And I love it. And I just want to just keep coming, man. They do an amazing job with their music. I love what they're doing, and I really want to see them live. They came to Pittsburgh on the No Hands tour. It was sold out. So if they come back to Pittsburgh, I'm definitely catching it. I cannot wait. JVB, thank you so much for No Hands, because that shit rocks, man. That's all I can say. And if you haven't heard it, please go listen to it. Banger album. Highly recommend. I love Christmas time. It is one of my favorite seasons out there. I get really excited every time it comes around, and nothing makes me happier than curling up under a blanket with a nice cup of hot chocolate and watching Christmas movies. And last year, I watched The Holdovers, and I loved this movie. In fact, it's probably not even shy to say it'll be one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and one that I will rewatch every year going forward. Everyone in the movie is fantastic. Paul Giamatti is a big standout in this movie for me. The movie drives this fine line between, I think, nostalgia and melancholy that everyone can relate to in some sense, because everyone experiences the holidays differently. And whether that's a joyous time for you or maybe not so much, there's something in this film that we can all relate to, which I think is what makes it magical and makes it fantastic. To me, it felt like a warm hug. I felt seen in parts of this movie, and that made me feel comfortable. And it just, whenever I watch this, it just makes me feel warm inside, which I love. To quote the movie, it's like the champagne of beers, right? This is like the champagne of movies. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Please check it out. I will definitely rewatch this like every Christmas, probably going forward. Yeah, I really love this movie, and I can't wait to love it for years to come. Nostalgia is a powerful force, and I think nostalgia is even more powerful when someone can take nostalgia and transform it into something new. That is exactly what Hundreds of Beavers does. When I was a kid, I would always watch these Looney Tunes collections on DVD. I remember we had one, like Whoopi Goldberg was talking on it before it would start, and then it was just a whole collection of these cartoons. And I have been riding that nostalgia train since I was a kid. And this movie, Hundreds of Beavers, really nails that kind of nostalgia of those cartoons, what makes them good, and recontextualizes it into something new and cool. It takes like the hunter versus animal aspect that some of those old like Bugs Bunny cartoons had, but it flips the script, and it does these jokes, and these like repetitive jokes that really work in this film. And you end up rooting for the character. You see how the main character is an Applejack salesman who's trying to become a hunter and also win a girl of his dreams. And you see him work up from this guy who knows nothing about hunting or surviving all the way till the end to just being this like badass, hilariously awesome hunter. There's a lot of great gags in this that appear and will often like reappear over and over and over. And they never, for me, they never really lost their charm. I love them throughout the whole time. And the editing in this, I think, is what really makes this movie. If you want a good example of how editing can make a movie, check this out. The editing in this is fantastic. And I think it's in part why the movie really works. Especially the end. For me, the end was like one of the most perfect segments in this movie. And it is something that I will definitely remember. It's something I like to show people and just see their faces witnessing it. It's awesome. To me, it felt like this movie wasn't talked about enough. Maybe it was, and I just missed those parts on the internet. But please, man, if you're looking for a good comedy, check out Hundreds of Beavers. I think at the time of filming this, it's on like Amazon Prime or something, or Tubi. I don't know where it's going to be in the future, but if you see this and you haven't seen the movie, please go check out Hundreds of Beavers. It is amazing. So, to clarify, I like TV shows, but I don't really consider myself a TV show guy. I watch movies. I like movies because they have all of their story in one thing. They're shorter, and I can just watch it, be done with it, and move on. I love TV shows like Severance. I'm watching this year. Severance, amazing shows. Shows like Succession, amazing. But I don't binge a lot of shows. It's very rare that I do. But last year, I decided to binge Batman Beyond. And I haven't watched, I've seen like the Batman show when I was a kid, you know, Batman the Animated Series, but I never like watched the whole thing and finished it. I like Batman, but I don't consider myself like, you know, like a super fan. However, after seeing that concept art for the Batman Beyond movie that was never greenlit, I decided to rewatch this show. So I've seen this show when I was a kid, bits and pieces. And I remember it being cool, but I don't remember much else about it. And after rewatching it, man, what a treasure. This show is flawed. It has many flaws to it. But I think what it does best is it takes Batman and puts its own unique spin, twist on it. From the cyberpunk era of Gotham that they're going for, to constructing out like Terry McGinnis's own rogues gallery, which they do, and there are a lot of cool villains here. Some of them show up once and then like never show up again. Specifically, one of the main villains, who, spoilers for like a 30-year-old show, by the way, dies. Like, he drowns in a sub in the ocean, and you're like, oh, he's gonna come back because he's the major villain. But no, that's it. Rest of the series, he never comes back. He's just there. It's like, all right, whatever. But despite all the flaws, I think this show does an amazing job putting a twist on Batman with Terry McGinnis and all that. I loved it. I loved everything it was going for. I think it helps. Like, I'm predisposed to really enjoying like cyberpunk type stuff, and that's why the show really appealed to me. But from stylistic, you know, like design, to Terry McGinnis himself, to Bruce and Terry's relationship, to the villains he has to deal with, I really like this show. I think it was filled with charm, and it'll forever stand out as one of my favorite Batman properties. No matter what, I think this is always going to be a gem in my eye. You know, I just got to say, thank God we have Jordan Peele, because without him, we might have never gotten Monkey Man. This movie is oozing with passion. Passion is so important when making something, and I don't think I have seen more passion in a project than Dev Patel with this movie. He put his heart and soul to making it. Literally wrote, Google it. I think he got like an eye infection doing this. He like broke his hand, some toes. And the worst off is, originally he had a deal to publish this movie with Netflix, but they refused because they didn't want to piss off India's government. I believe that's how the story goes, at least. And then that's when Jordan Peele picked it up with Monkey Paw Studio, you know, his production company that he runs. And they put this movie out. Thank God they did, because it would have been a crime if we didn't see this. This is such a personal story to Dev Patel. I can tell just like watching it. And I am so glad he got to make this and put it out into the world. Everything from the story to the action, cinematography, it's all really, really good. And this was a treat to watch in theaters. I really can't wait to see what Dev works on next. I can't wait to see what else Monkey Paw Studio puts out. I am just happy this got released in theaters, especially in an era where we are seeing movies canceled before they even hit the theaters and, you know, scrapped for tax reasons, which is just so disheartening. It's really cool to see a win like this happen. especially with such a good and important movie. Okay, so let me emphasize this next entry with I have no idea what's going on in this world. I'm dumb, bro. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but I love it. Dune Part 2 was insane to see in theaters. I never got to see it in IMAX, right? Man, do I wish I did. This movie is awesome. For everything, I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry. Denis, I believe is how you say his first name, has pulled off in this movie is amazing. Timothy Chalamet does a great job. I think all the actors really do a fantastic job. Everyone is bringing it. I got no clue what's going on, bro. I just know the spice has to flow, and someone's got to make it happen. It's truthfully, it's honestly a treat, right? To step into this universe, which you have, it feels grand, as big of an ocean, and you feel like you're just seeing a tiny droplet of what's going on in this whole world. I know that's one of the big points. That's also like what Star Wars did. I think Star Wars was probably inspired by Dune when doing that. Because I think like what every major sci-fi work like to ever be released was inspired by Dune, essentially, right? Anyway, Dune Part 2 is amazing, an amazing sequel. And I'm really, really excited to know we're getting the third one. I think the final one as well. Either in 2025, 2026. That's going to be an important trilogy. I think, we have like these trilogies everyone loves, like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, maybe like two people like The Hobbit. I don't know. But I think Dune is really going to rise up the ranks and become that next big, trilogy, like a Peter Jackson or something like that, would make. I think that's going to be a major one. This grand epic with so many ideas and lore. I think when Messiah comes out, this is going to be one of the trilogies that gets embedded into film history that people are going to be talking about for decades to come. And I truthfully cannot wait, because you can bet your ass when Dune Messiah comes out, I'm binging all 3 movies, and I'm probably going to become a Dune nerd. I think even like somewhere back on like a bookshelf behind me, I have Dune, the first book. I'm scared to read it because it has like a vocab section, and that scares the shit out of me. So I'll just watch the movie instead. But yeah, Dune Part 2, loved it. And boy, I cannot wait for Dune Messiah. Yes. All right, so 2024. It was an okay year. It started out rough. It had its highs. It had its lows for me. Toward the end, it started to taper off, and there was more stability. I spent a lot of time going to the gym, which I loved. I started making unsweet tea. Do you know how much of a life hack unsweet tea feels like? I love that stuff now. I drink it all the time. That's like my go-to drink, unsweet tea. Can't get enough of it. I started a new tabletop game, Cyberpunk Red. I don't know if any of you played it. You can probably see it somewhere back there on the second shelf. Love Cyberpunk Red. I got into a lot of new hobbies. I kind of like just discovered more of myself. I made some videos. Content creation, wasn't super consistent. I was working out some life stuff, but we're getting there. And yeah, 2025, we'll see how it goes. Not setting any expectations, but me and this guy will hope for the best, I guess. So yeah, that was my 2024. That is almost all the peak I experienced in 2024. I hope you experienced just as much peak as I did, and I hope your 2025 is excellent. And I hope you play a lot of games, maybe watch a lot of movies or TV shows, or listen to music, or whatever you like to do. I hope you enjoy doing that thing. And always remember, keep making stuff, keep doing stuff. That's what's really important in the end of the day. So yeah, that was 2024. I guess I'll see you in end of the year 2025 for the next one of these. Thanks for watching. Bye.